I think my least favorite podcast trope is when podcast hosts are like, we recorded and then some big news broke and now we're going to discuss it. We recorded and some big news broke and now we're going to discuss it. Penn State wrestler, Olympic gold medalist, I don't know.
World champion.
World champion, whatever adjective you want to put in front of his name. David Taylor, he's off to Oklahoma to coach the Pokes. Gonna go coach Oklahoma State wrestling, of course, which is the program that has won the most titles in wrestling. Um, Kind of feels like a hit, just kind of to both the Penn State wrestling community, as I am certainly the poster child for speaking for it, but also kind of maybe, and you could provide a little bit more on this, but the Center County region as well.
Yeah, I mean it's big, right? And he had so many different connections, right? And was part of the foundation for Kale's dynasty, business owner in Center County. Um, so big move in lots of ways. I don't think the sky is falling in any way, shape, or form for Penn State. I think it's great for the sport. I think it's wonderful for the sport of wrestling. I hope it works out super for him. And it's been fun to watch people react to it, afterward and see what has happened. And I do think where it affects Penn State, and probably will for people who are probably tighter with it than me, there's going to be some kid who was a recruit somewhere along the line who was lined up to go to Penn State, who at some point is going to say, oh, well, wait a second, they're really deep at a couple of those weights. I think I'll go here, train with the Olympian and world champion, and he's brought some people with him. And I'm sure Oklahoma State's facilities are good and the resources are good. They're going to be decent. I'd be surprised, I guess, if they weren't decent pretty quickly.
Yeah, I think that.
Which is great for the sport.
I think it's interesting, and we kind of explored this topic back in like right after the national championship. Like, we have taken the Kale era for granted. That when something like this it happens, maybe it does feel like the sky is falling. Um, but that's also the beauty of how good of a coach he is. But also, like you said, I think it is great for the sport because a little bit of parity won't hurt anybody. And I think that's only going to make it stronger, make it grow. It's super fascinating, the parallels between kind of really those two, of you know Kale at Iowa State, and then comes to State College as a 4-time champ and an Olympic medalist, gold medalist, and then over to Penn State as a coach, and really, and it kind of feels a little similar, um, with the David Taylor route. And like I said, it feels like there's also a community aspect to this that kind of, I guess, surprised a lot of people, and I think that's maybe why, just hearing from you, having conversations with you, and kind of some other people that are in the center region, that's kind of what I took away from it, or at least those are kind of my initial feelings on it.
I forget. Did I tell you? Well, I guess we didn't. Did I tell you I sent him a thank you note? Did I tell you
Yes, you
that?
did. You did.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
good guy,
So
Steve.
yeah,
Steve is a good guy. He writes handwritten letters still.
I just think daughter, dad, whatever else, pleasure. So I think it had to be not an easy decision, but at the same time, I'm sure it's a good gig, right? He's certainly going to be the news for wrestling in the off season and leading up to it. So I'm excited for them, and I'm excited for what it does for the sport.
The wild dominoes that fell too. Like, it's Aaron Brooks comes to Penn State. Aaron Brooks trains under Kale Sanderson. Kale Sanderson makes both of them into like virtual Olympians, and then they go head to head. Who knows if David Taylor wins, it beats Aaron Brooks? Like, Aaron Brooks is probably going to go on to do something else, or train for the next Olympics. And David Taylor's going to the Paris Olympics and probably won't take this job because State needs a coach sooner rather than later.
Yep. Yep.
Um,